Let's now go to Emmanuel Macron.
Overseas territories and abroad. I am speaking to you as we continue to fight the pandemic, and we are doing all that is in our power for economic recovery. Thousands of kilometers away, we are witnessing a historic moment in Afghanistan that will have repercussions for the international community, for Europe and France. The war has lasted 20 years. The decision to withdraw American troops was made by President Trump and then President Biden. Kabul, the capital of Afghanistan, fell within a matter of hours without resistance. The American intervention began exactly 20 years ago following 9/11. At the time, the Taliban refused to hand over Osama bin Laden. Our country was militarily engaged in Afghanistan for 13 years, from 2001 to 2014. President Chirac, in 2001, agreed to send French forces to the United States out of solidarity with our friends and allies that had suffered a devastating attack. The aim was to fight a terrorist threat that was targeting our territory and fight the terrorist threat in Afghanistan. In 2011, President Sarkozy began withdrawing troops. Then President Hollande decided that the troops would be fully withdrawn in cooperation with the Afghan authorities and our allies. The French military intervention stopped completely on the 31st of December 2014, and we continued civilian operations with the Afghan people. We have very deep and historic links with them. In Afghanistan, we led a very just battle, and the honor of France was at stake. France had only one enemy: terrorism. It had no intent to instate any form of government. We believe in setting up credible political institutions, and so our foreign policy in Afghanistan was based on these principles and continues to be so. During these 13 years, we sent a wide variety of military forces to Afghanistan, and this evening I would like to acknowledge them, those who fought, the families of those who died and were wounded on the ground. We will not forget our soldiers, we will not forget our dead. The number of dead is 90. 13 years ago, 10 French soldiers and an Afghan interpreter were killed. 21 French soldiers were wounded. France led that battle. It was meaningful, and one day it will bear fruit. Currently, the situation in Afghanistan is rapidly deteriorating. As we speak, the Taliban has control over almost the entirety of the country. They control Kabul, except for the airport where operations are under American control. The Afghan president has left the country. Commercial flights have halted. We were ready for this critical juncture, and they required immediate action, given the gravity of the situation and the humanitarian disaster. The absolute priority is to protect our nationals who need to leave the country, along with the Afghans who worked with France. Our nationals have been progressively evacuated in recent weeks. We are in contact with all French nationals who want to return to France. They're at the military airport, the civilian airport, or at the embassy. I would like to thank our diplomats, the police officers, all those who have shown great courage. I would like to thank also our American allies who have supported us with the evacuations. France is one of the rare countries that chose to maintain capacity on site to support those who worked with us. We also anticipated evacuations in recent weeks. All entities and employees who were under threat, more than 600 people, were able to be supported by France. France, at the moment, is supporting Afghan employees of the European delegation. We have also supported French personnel of NGOs that seek to leave the country. These operations have been underway for several years. We have sought to welcome Afghan civilians that have worked alongside the French army as well as their families. This is our duty. Interpreters, drivers, cooks, and so on. Several hundreds of people are already in France, but several are still on site. And we are completely ready to support them. Afghan human rights defenders, artists, journalists are under threat because of their work, and we will support them because the honor of France is at stake, and these people share our values, and we will do all that we can for them. I would like to thank the organizations that will work with us in this operation. We will be working very closely with American armed forces on site, and I have decided to send 2 Air Force transport planes and further means on site. I also intend to undertake operations with our allies and with the European Union. We will continue to fight Islamist terrorism in all its forms. Terrorists are present in Afghanistan and they will seek to benefit from the instability. The UN Security Council will need to act in a united manner. I have spoken with Prime Minister Boris Johnson, and we will make joint decisions shortly. Within the UN Security Council, we need to take diplomatic and political decisions. Afghanistan cannot become a hub of terrorism. We need to work together to fight terrorism and those who support it. We will also spare no effort to ensure that Russia, the United States, and the EU work together, because our interests are the same. The instability in Afghanistan is also likely to increase the influx of migrants to Europe. France will continue to do its duty to protect those who are the most threatened. We will do our best to proceed in an organized and fair manner. But Europe cannot take responsibility for the situation on its own. We need to ensure that we are protected from large-scale influx that can have detrimental effects. Along with Germany, in fact, I spoke to Chancellor Merkel a little while ago and other leaders, and we are planning to build a unified, coordinated effort to harmonize criteria for protection and also to cooperate with transit countries such as Pakistan, Turkey, or Iran. Finally, we need to continue to defend our principles and our values. These define us. The history of Afghanistan did not begin in 2001. We intervened in a country that was devastated by decades of war. And we know what that implies. We too built our country over decades. Our commitment to equality and our freedom took years to build, and we know that this is a daily fight. Afghans will need to face several challenges in the coming months. The Afghan people have the right to live in security and mutual respect. Afghan women have the right to live in freedom and dignity. And Afghanistan's fate is in its own hands, but we will remain by Afghanistan's side. We will support Afghan civil society and protect those that we can protect. To those who choose war, obscurantism, and blind violence, to those who choose isolation, we say that we will always be on the side of freedom, of women's rights, and those who embrace our values. That is the right choice. Long live the Republic, long live France.